Hello, welcome to a video. I'm gonna be talking about our dear friend Jonathan McIntosh. He's on a quest. He is on a he's gonna solve a case for us. Because we're at the pop culture detective agency, so we're gonna crack open these hot cases. He has 11 comments, 11 which you can't see, but I guess it's because they're private comments. I guess, which is fucking stupid, but okay, let's just watch this.
Stop! Giant robots shouldn't fight!
Steven Universe is an adventure show about a boy with superpowers derived from an interstellar gemstone in his belly. But in many ways, it's also a coming-of-age story about a young man growing up and trying to find his place in the world.
What? My gem!
Quick! Try and summon your weapon!
I don't know how! Ah! It's fading! How do I make it come back?
Calm down, Steven. Breathe.
Oh, I was really close that time.
Coming-of-age narratives for boys usually involve an education in sex, sports, hunting, or fighting. These activities are framed as a sort of rite of passage. In stories set in sci-fi, fantasy, or superhero genres, combat is almost always the mechanism through which young men must prove their worthiness. This is usually not framed as outright aggression on the hero's part, but is instead justified as the ability to fight back. There are accompanying characteristics, like wit, determination, cleverness, or confidence, but learning how to be tough and proficient in dealing out violence is consistently framed as a necessary step for boys to complete their journey into...
Well, yeah, because people need to know how to defend themselves. In Batman, they're trained to fight, but they're also trained to use their heads, because they're detectives. And when you usually try to solve a case, the people who you are investigating might not like that, and you might have to get out of a situation with violence. So yeah, it is necessary. It's necessary for these kind of characters because of the context and concept that they're in. Steven, on the other hand, is made as a defensive character. You're not going to expect a guy with a shield to rush into the lines of battle and be like, oh, I'm going to be the offensive guy. No, that's fucking no.
manhood. As the series begins, Steven Universe appears to be following in the footsteps of these well-worn conventions. Steven wants his own gem-powered weapon to help fight off monsters like the other crystal gems. But when he finally does conjure his weapon, it isn't a weapon.
Steven, it's a shield.
And this is where the series begins to depart from classic genre expectations. Rather than being disappointed at not getting an offensive or aggressive skill, Steven wholeheartedly embraces his new defensive superpower.
What? I get a shield? Oh, yeah!
What?
But I like how he's only showing the parts where he uses the shield as a defensive mechanism. He can actually use the shield as a offensive weapon. Just in the latest season, he has done more. He has actually made attacks, like he can make spikes on his bubble and all this kind of stuff. So he's not a purely defensive character anymore. He does fight. It's just that I think where Steven Universe wants to do is that they want to show these characters that have more variety. And when you have a class-based shooter like Overwatch, Team Fortress, they have these defensive characters, these supportive characters, but they also have an offensive skill to them. But they're not really the primary focus. The support is just that support. They have some ways to defend themselves, obviously, that's why some of them can deal damage to the enemy team, whatever. but they're not the main source of damage, and that's why you mostly see like Mercy or whatever support in Overwatch following someone to buff them, because they're not strong on their own. They're not supposed to be. They're supposed to be supportive characters.
Over here! This way!
The show continues its subversion of boy hero tropes when we find out that Steven is a healer.
What?
I can see without my glasses!
Did I heal your eyes? But how?
His mother had healing tears, whereas Steven has...
The juice box! I don't have healing tears! I have healing spit!
Yeah, maybe a little gross, but when you think about it, that essentially means that Steven possesses healing kisses, healing affection.
Yeah!
You know what would be ironic? This is gonna sound shitty of me, but what if the whole time Steven Universe, Steven had HIV, and the only way he can heal people is with a spit, so not only are people going to be healed, but they're also going to get HIV as a side effect. That'd be kind of fucked up, but...
Here goes something new and exciting! And go! Okay, you should be better now.
So Steven's a healer, and his gem power is centered around shielding others from harm. Now that's especially interesting because in many fantasy stories and video games, those are both considered to be secondary or support skills.
I like how he threw Avatar in there, but of course it's secondary and supportive skills because it's fucking healing. He has a defensive weapon, and he has healing. Of course they're supportive. You don't want your healers to run in the middle of the battle and then get killed. You don't want that. It's like when you look at EMTs. The one thing that you learn as an EMT is that you don't want to put yourself in a risky situation. If you're going to a house that is dangerous, unsafe, you're leaving. The patient is there, but you don't want to be a patient as well. Put it that way. So of course, when you're a healer, you want to stay in the back because you're important. You're like a vital part of the team. If you go out there and get killed, who's gonna heal everyone? No one. Healing is a very important thing that's why people usually don't run into the thing. That's why it's a supportive skill and not a primary thing.
Medics and other protective spellcasters have often been gendered roles. They're roles that have been filled by women who stand back and supplement the other warrior classes who have traditionally been men. This convention has begun to change in recent years, which is a really good sign, but the gendering of these types of roles still remains a pervasive pattern in media. Giving these kind of support power...
I like how he says, it's still a pervasive pattern, but it's like... See, this is the thing. This is the thing with him and Anita, is that they both go with these absolutes. Like, we either have to remove or just stop having female medics and have more male medics. When the answer is not that, the answer is just have more male men medics with girl medics. Boy medics and girl medics. Just have the same variety. You don't have to remove one to have the other. That's not a solution. And it's not going to fix an issue. And that's what I really don't like about his videos now. Well, especially what you just said. Because there's a lot more medics. Like in Team Fortress 2, the medic was a male. It was a guy. I mean, you could argue that there's not a lot. That's a fair argument, saying that there's not a lot of male medics. That's a fair thing to say about video games, TV shows, whatever, but the answer isn't to make less woman medics, because that makes no sense. You're not going to be nowhere on planet Earth are you not going to see a woman as a medic. No way on this planet.
To the male protagonist is a fun, if pretty straightforward inversion. But I'd argue that Steven has another superpower, something that's even more important, and even more fundamental to his character and to the show's values as a whole. You see, Steven is empathic. You might even say he's super empathic.
Steven, your mother had healing tears that flowed from her gem. She felt real love for those around her, She felt real sorrow when they were hurt. You have the rose quartz gem now. I know that power is in you too.
Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings or emotions of another person. But empathy is not just feeling bad for someone else. It's actually feeling what they feel. And that's an important distinction. It's what separates sympathy from empathy.
Spirit, show yourself!
It's close. I can feel it. It's hurting and obsessed.
Wait, how do you know?
I don't, but I could just feel it. She was yelling and she was really freaked out.
As season 1 begins,
Well, but I like how he's using that as empathy, but it's just like he is just making a judgment call on what he heard. Like he heard that she's having this thing, so of course he's gonna feel something's wrong. You know, if I go up to you and I'm like, acting like fucking weird, you're gonna be like, oh, something is going on, but whatever.
the show's structure seems to be following a fairly standard Monster of the Week adventure show formula. But then in episode 23, which is appropriately titled Monster Buddies, we start to get the sense that this is not just a show about going on fun adventures and fighting baddies, like a lot of other shows in the same genre tend to be. At the beginning of that episode, we see the gems fighting a monster just like they have many times before.
One more attack should do
But
it.
this time, Steven reacts a little differently.
Yikes! Your arm!
Did you see it?
Yeah, he reacts to him losing an arm because, when you see that shit for the first time, you're gonna be like, oh, fuck, your arm. Like, you're gonna cringe at that pain. It just happens that, it's a natural reaction. If I on video did something really painful, you're gonna react to that. You're gonna be like, oh, fuck. Like, you're gonna, you're gonna have any kind of reaction.
No?
Whatever.
Okay, let's rewind it and watch it again. Okay, so notice that the creature's arm is damaged during this encounter.
Yikes! Your arm!
And seeing this, Steven expresses concern for her well-being while grabbing at his own arm. Essentially, Steven is super sensitive.
I love how he explained that like we're all fucking idiots. Alright, see, let's rewind it so you guys can see. See, he lost an arm. And Steven reacted to the arm. He could have just said, "Oh, let's take another look at the scene." You see that Steven is reacting to this person's arm. That way, it doesn't come off condescending, and you sound like you have some faith in your viewers. There, it's just like it's a nitpick. To be fair, it's a nitpick, but it's something that really pisses me off about these kind of videos. Is that they kind of treat people like they're babies, and it's like, oh, see, he reacted. It's like, come on, get out of here.
To others. He possesses the capacity to vicariously experience other people's feelings. When someone else is hurting, Steven hurts. He feels their pain as if it were his own. This kind of super sensitivity is especially rare for boy heroes, because in our culture, emotional intuition is still stereotypically associated with women. And as such, media
Oh
often...
yeah, definitely. These kind of emotions, soft emotions, are always for women. I mean, Batman and the animated series never felt empathy or anything towards anyone. If you watch Baby Doll, you're gonna definitely be like, oh, Batman doesn't care. He's like, yeah, fuck that. Or Silicon Soul, yeah, he doesn't have any feelings towards these people, right? Yeah, no. Aang from Last Airbender, no, he was like, Fire Lord, fuck him, I'm gonna kill him. Obviously, that's what happened in Last Airbender. He did not have to be like, oh shit, that's fucked up, I don't want to fucking kill anyone. And he had some whole big character conflict about that. No, he was a manly man about that, right guys? Right?
frames it as overly sensitive girl stuff.
Yeah, see, Aang is overly sensitive girl stuff. Aang is girl stuff, okay, guys? When we watched The Last Airbender, when he got to the end, you're just like, wow, Aang's a little bitch. He's like, oh, I don't want to fucking kill the Fire Lord. Ozai, no, I don't want to. Because he's a bitch. He's a little bitch with a bitch-ass arrow, and just says, I can't do it. I'm so weak in my back. I don't want to kill him. I can't do it. Because he's a little bitch, okay? Korra is more of a man, okay? See, she actually gets stuff done, kind of, in a way. I mean, of course, the people who died, just kind of ended up being dead inadvertently, but, girl stuff, right?
But on this show, things work very differently.
Well, I think you're pretty great.
In this universe, it's common for male characters to act in caring and emotionally sensitive ways. You can watch my full episode about that right here. Later, Steven makes friends with another monster and names her Centipedal.
But see, this is the thing that pisses me off about how he talks about this show. He makes it sound as if Steven Universe is, a very unique show. Oh, you've never seen a show like this, and it's not a fucking unique show. This has been in other shows before. The Last Airbender was the first to do it. Well, maybe not the first, but it was the first show to have a show that got a big attention that had this kind of decision making. Aang was a very powerful avatar, but he didn't use his power as a dictator. He didn't use all his power all the time. He always wanted to use diplomacy all the time. I mean, it gets kind of murky, I guess, when he found out he could take people's bending, I guess. But he usually tries to not intervene with crimes. Only for stuff that would put the entire world into jeopardy or whatever. So this is kind of how I see the Steven Universe fan base, that they make this show into something that it's not. It's just a fucking show. It's not deep. It's not oh, look how different it is. This is the first show to have a sensitive male character. No, it wasn't. Moral Orel had a sensitive male character. And it was a big thing about that show. After Last Airbender, South Park, in some ways, the male characters are sensitive. In some ways. Except for Cartman. But, it's just, Steven Universe isn't the first. It's not. It's not unique. It's not special. It's not a special little snowflake. I mean, the only thing that it has that does set it apart a little bit more is that it's more of a mainstreamed lesbian portrayal. But, it gets around that by saying these are aliens.
At first, they're both afraid of each other. But remember from my last video that being afraid is not a negative trait on this show. And Steven's fear is reasonable. The monster is indeed dangerous. But Steven is resolute in his
But it's every show that portrays fear portrays it the same way. Fear is it's a human respect. No show looks down on fear. They only look down on it when it's when people use fear as fear mongering. That's what was the whole point in Star Wars when they say that fear leads to the dark side, because a lot of the time people use fear to gain power, to use fear mongering to gain power. Well, we need to do that. We need to build a wall around the United States to protect us from what we are afraid of outside or something. It's there's a reason why people are against these kind of things, because fear is bad, and when it's used to govern or to be used in politics, fear shouldn't be used that way. Fear is human way of saying, holy shit, this thing can kill me. Let's get the fuck out of here. It shouldn't be used to, I want to be president, so I'm gonna use fear mongering to get me there. I mean, you can say, sure, that we should be afraid of terrorism. Terrorism is a scary thing, but we shouldn't be doing all this stuff out of fear. We should be doing other ways to channel that fear. Whatever. It's so fucking retarded to be criticizing against fear in a way that is, and that's not the point of these shows that portray fear that way. It's never that oh, feeling fear is wrong 24/7. It's that you can't, govern. You can't function healthy. If you want to be a fighter, if you want to do good by the people, you cannot operate under fear. You can be afraid. That's one thing, but you cannot do your actions out of fear. You cannot decide a person's fate because you're afraid, because that doesn't lead to an unbiased judgment. It leads to a very biased judgment if you act under fear. That's what I guess I was trying to say.
Conviction that monsters are not all bad, that there is still good in them.
It looks so scared. Hi. It's okay. Look, please don't be scared of me.
But what about people who try to take advantage of you, and they try to gain your trust, and then they betray you? What about that?
See? I'm not gonna hurt you.
Now, critically, Steven's belief that his new monster buddy can be redeemed is not framed by the show as childish idealism. Instead, it's looked upon as honorable and commendable.
Stop! You don't need to fight! This isn't you! You're not a monster anymore! You're more than that!
The larger lore of this universe also works to validate Steven's empathetic convictions. Recall that the crystal gems all have extraterrestrial superpowers because of their gemstones. In the episode Ocean Gem, we learn that all the monsters our heroes have been fighting each week are actually gems themselves. Or, more accurately, they once were gems, but they've been corrupted.
I can't believe Lapis would do this. Gems shouldn't fight each other.
We're always fighting gems, actually.
What?
Oh, how do I put this? All gems aren't necessarily good.
All those monsters we fight used to be just like us, right, Pearl?
Yes, but they've become corrupted and broken. We have to take care of them, subdue them, contain them. It's the best we can do for them for now.
This also illustrates one of the core values of the show, which is the belief in the possibility of transformative redemption.
The truth is, Rose Quartz had tried to use her powers to save these monsters too, but she was never able to heal them.
Never? But if she couldn't do it...
Who knows? Maybe when you have better control of your powers, you might help them in ways even your mother couldn't.
Even this one.
I'll keep it safe.
And Steven, along with his supercharged empathy, are often the voice of that message.
Wow. Wait for me, Centipedal.
But it is kind of framed as a childish idealism or naivety, because he assumes, like any child would, like his age, that things can change, that people can be changed. There's still hope. There's still good in people. It's just when you get older that you start growing cynicism, because you see that there are people that can't be changed. It hasn't been a lesson yet in Steven Universe, I don't think. At least I don't remember. But he hasn't encountered, as far as my knowledge, something that can't be changed. I mean, Jasper might be the only thing he has encountered that refused to listen to him or change her idealism because she can't be changed. It's still childhood naivety because he's a child. That's why he feels that way. The other gems don't feel that way because they're fucking old. They've seen a lot of shit. So of course they're more skeptical, like, well, a corrupted gem probably won't turn back because they probably have seen some fucked up shit. They probably have seen their own friends turn to corrupted gems, and that's probably why they see that they can't be helped. It's so fucking dumb how Jonathan makes these fucking points, and he doesn't fucking get anything about how they're written and how simple this show really is. This show isn't a complex show. There is a level of complexity, but it's so simple because obviously they don't want to make it too complex because they want their audience to follow along. But it's complex enough to the point where the viewer can actually get a little bit more engagement out of it. It's not a dumb show, but it's it's not like fucking Fargo that has a lot of like deep depth and meanings to things. It isn't like that.
I promise I'll heal you up someday.
He sees the redemptive possibility in everyone and everything, even when the much more experienced gems may be a little skeptical. For Steven, no one is unworthy of compassion or empathy, even monsters.
Steven, be careful.
But this just happened. Maybe I can do something. Jasper, it's okay. I'm here. I just want to try and heal you.
It's uncommon to see this kind of empathy on television, especially when expressed
Really?
for the bad guy.
Really, it's hard to find this kind of empathy on television. Fuck you, dude. You don't watch TV then. You watch too much of this shit. Moral Oral is one of those shows. That show is... I love that show. It's a great show. The main character got shot by his dad in the leg in the season 2 finale. And throughout the 3rd season, he had a little sliver of hope for his dad that maybe he's gonna take responsibility for his actions. Maybe he's gonna like do this, but until then, I don't really want to talk to him anymore. And he had this very hardline kind of stance, but yet by the end he still loved his dad. If you look at the season 3 finale when they do a flash forward. He still has pictures of his mom and dad in his room with his wife and 2 kids. He still feels something for his dad. It's way more complex because it's a very tricky path. It's a very tricky relationship, very complicated. This isn't that fucking complicated, but this type of character has been done before. Goku had that fucking trait. Fucking Goku, he gave Frieza part of his energy to survive, and then Frieza was like, "Oh, fuck you, Goku," and he's like, "Oh, you fool, fuck you, dude." Like, we have seen this character before. Dragon Ball Z had it, Dragon Ball Z, so on. This has been in shows before. Get out of here, John. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Well, it's true that most good guys in media do demonstrate some empathy for their friends, their family, and their allies. Those feelings are very rarely extended to their enemies. And it's almost unheard of in programs.
Yeah, definitely like when you watch the Powerpuff Girls, totally. But yeah, then we look at like Dragon Ball Z. Goku apparently had no qualms with his opponent, but like they framed those fights very uniquely and different. It's just we've seen this before. This guy.
Programming aimed at children, which tends, more than most, to break narratives down into simplistic good versus evil, easy to digest lessons.
Because they're fucking kids. They're not fucking like they don't watch Lost and be like, oh, I fucking get it, guys. I understand Lost. I'm only 9 years old and I get Lost. Like, come on, really?
In most animated shows, the bad guys simply can't be reformed. If you look at everything from, say, DuckTales to the Batman universe, you'll notice that the villains...
The Batman universe, yeah. Because obviously the Joker, a character who's fucking mentally insane, cannot be swung one way or the other. But look at fucking Two-Face. Watch Batman the Animated Series, every episode with Two-Face. Batman feels fucking empathy for him. He still feels that there's still hope in him because Harvey's still there. It just blows my mind how dumb this guy fucking is. And how just fucking stupid he is. He's such a fucking idiot. God damn it. I'm being so salty over this, but like, it's so fucking stupid. I can't...
Are, by and large, framed as evil by nature. Villainy is not just something they do, villainy is what they are.
The prisoner will stand.
So any attempt at rehabilitation is ultimately doomed to fail. And the belief in the possibility of redemption is therefore often framed as foolish or naive or...
But like... Oh my god, this guy is so stupid! He's an idiot! Batman has a hardline stance on killing enemies. He doesn't want to kill them because he still feels empathy for them. What, like, watch Batman Arkham City's ending. Batman said he would have cured the Joker. Regardless of all the shit he done in that series, he would have cured him of what was happening with him. He would have cured him because he still feels that there's an ounce of hope for these villains. That's why he sends them to an asylum where they fucking belong because they're fucking mentally they have a lot of issues. You're not gonna put these guys in a fucking business. You know, when someone tries to kill a bunch of people, the first thing you're gonna do isn't going to, guys, this guy tried to kill someone, but we should really give him the benefit of the doubt, and we should just let him go to work. You know, this guy has expressed that he wants to kill everyone at his job, but you know, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let him go back to work. No, they're gonna send him to a fucking therapist. They're gonna lock him up. They're gonna try to get to the bottom of his issues and work it through, because that's how the system works. I mean, our crime system might not be perfect, but that's the ideal that these shows want to portray, is that these criminals deserve to be helped. That's why they go to the asylum. Does he know what the asylum is? Does he know what goes on in the asylum in Batman? Does he understand the whole notion of why Batman puts him there in the first place? Does he understand the basic notion that, this fucking guy is a fucking idiot. He just wants to suck the fucking cock of Steven Universe. Oh, Steven Universe is so good. Oh, I love Steven Universe. It's so good. I'm Jonathan McIntosh. I have no taste in fucking shows. Get out of here.
Or, worse, something that can actually endanger society itself. But on Steven Universe, things are more nuanced. Here, the bad guys don't just do bad things because they're intrinsically or inherently evil. They do bad things because of their history and their circumstances. Now, the bad guys are no less dangerous.
So we're gonna ignore all the circumstances with the Batman villains. This guy is a fucking idiot. He has a hate boner at this point. Because this is like the second time you threw Batman under the bus on a video. But, so we're gonna ignore that Two-Face is fueled by rage and revenge against Marconi, whatever, in the animated series for making him as he is. We're gonna ignore the Mad Hatter's circumstance of why he's a villain. We're gonna ignore all that because it's not fucking Steven Universe, guys. Steven Universe is so good. Oh my god, I'm John McIntosh. I wear a Mr. Universe shirt, and this is a very good video. I love fucking Steven Universe. Fuck you, John.
It does mean there always exists at least the possibility for redemption. And that possibility is what guides and shapes Steven's actions.
Wait, let me try talking to it. Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me? Are you in there somewhere?
And this brings us to the final point I want to make in this video. A critical part of Steven's super empathy is that it's always actionable. The actionable part is key. Not only does he feel for others,
Oh, she's coming back!
he also does something about it.
Alright, everyone be supportive.
Steven consistently intervenes to de-escalate.
Well, yeah, because when he said that, like, he noticed that Amethyst was, like, trying to, please everyone or something, because, like, okay.
And resolve conflicts.
Lapis! I don't want to fight anymore! I said, I don't want to fight!
In the episode Ocean Gem, we get to see Steven using all of his superpowers to de-escalate a potentially cataclysmic situation. He ends the fight and ultimately resolves the conflict by talking it out with the antagonist.
Lapis, I'm coming up to see you. Lapis!
What are you doing here, Steven?
What? No! What are you doing here? This thing! The ocean! This is crazy! Can't we work this out? We gems should be friends. Whoa.
Steven talks with her, He listens to her, and he treats her with empathy and kindness.
I just want to go home.
In the end, he even uses his healing powers to mend her broken gem, even after she's tried to hurt him, his friends, and his family.
Thank you, Steven.
Now, it's not all kumbaya in Beach City. The crystal gems are not pacifists. Our heroes are often forced into battle, but when that happens, Steven still expresses his discomfort, even when he's under attack by mutants.
They're all over us! They're attacking the drill! What do we do?
So win or lose, the specter of violence and confrontation weighs heavy on his heart.
Something doesn't feel right about this.
Then use the D-pad.
No, it's just... these things. We can't just leave their gems out there. They're going to form again later. If I could just bubble them, then they'd be safe. Come on, we've got to...
Bubble them into a place that, like, you know, they keep them in a little, like, let's call it a cell. They keep it there, they keep them there, in hopes that they can find a way to rehabilitate them in some way. You know, they go out and they don't want to kill them. They want to kind of bubble them, kind of like a certain superhero. I would say he has a fear of bats, and he's a man. He wears a bat mask, and they might call him like a Batman. You know, like where Batman goes out and he doesn't want to kill these enemies or these lunatics. He wants to take them in, put them in a cell where they can rehabilitate until they find a way to rehabilitate them back into society. You know, I guess that show hasn't been made yet. If you guys know what show that is, let me know. Let me know if it has if it exists. Does a Batman cartoon type series exist? I don't know. Yeah, you tell me.
help them.
And of course, there's tension and discord among friends from time to time, sometimes even leading to physical fights. But on this show, those issues are ultimately resolved through means other than violence and domination, often at the insistence.
There was an episode where Amethyst and Steven Universe had a problem with each other, like they had whatever, and they fought. And then their problem was resolved after the fight.
Of Steven himself.
So it was all my fault? Oh, you totally weren't even trying to sync with my dancing. You should know how I dance by now.
Stop! Come on, guys, please stop fighting.
Why don't you just
But you know, it's funny that like when you're a kid, let's say that you're like a child, like 5 years old or whatever, and you see your parents fighting like really at it, and you might think that they might get a divorce, and you ask them like, oh, are you gonna get divorced? Yeah, that's why Steven feels this way about these characters, because they're his mother figure, basically, since his mom isn't around anymore.
admit it. I'm just an embarrassment to you.
Amethyst, please, no more. I know you're upset, but I can't bear to watch you two hurt each other.
It's Steven's undying faith in the possibility of redemptive transformation that drives his efforts to prevent fights.
You, listen to me now. You are talking about things that you do not understand.
Garnet, stop, please. It's not worth it. We're done here. Let's just go home. Wait, don't! Come on, baby Melon. We have to stop this.
If that thing hurt you, so help me, I'll...
No, it didn't do anything. Garnet! Don't hurt it! I accidentally let it out of its bubble, but it didn't even try to hurt me. It's not like the other monsters. It's just scared and confused.
Everything that we've talked about in this episode is extremely rare for boy heroes on TV, but it really shouldn't be. The world could use a whole lot more of Steven's superpowers. We need more role models for boys where empathy and de-escalation and diplomacy are framed as brave and heroic behaviors.
Yeah, that's what...
Yeah, that it exists. That exists. What you just said exists in TV shows. You are just an idiot, John. I really really can't believe I'm about to say this, but Anita is smarter than him. I know. I hear a very strong gasp from you, but this video is fucking retarded. I can't fucking believe he made this video, makes money, has 57 likes over this, and it's just him praising this fucking show that other shows have done. You tell me, Jesus.
What I'm
Fuck,
talking
man.
about. You got that much needed counterpoint to our cynical worldview.
The good news is that unlike a magical shield or healing saliva, you don't need an interstellar gemstone to practice empathetic behaviors. Now, it may take us some time to learn how to wield them effectively, but we all have access to those very human superpowers. I hope you enjoyed this in-depth exploration of themes and messages on Steven Universe.
No, this was a terrible video, John. You should be ashamed. This was a awful train wreck of a video. I really no. This gets a dislike from me. This is I really can't believe this fucking video exists. He's talking about this subversive boyhood in Steven Universe when it doesn't subvert anything. This has been in shows in like way before Steven Universe even came out. This has been in every show, almost every show. The only thing that Steven Universe does is that it does it to a point where it's kind of like easy to spot because the show goes out of its way to portray Steven as a pacifist. It goes out of its way to show that. So yeah, it's nothing new. It's just it's done in a slightly different way, but it's not something new or unique or has never been done before. That's fucking no. So there you go. There's that video. Jonathan is a fucking idiot. Remember that. When you see Jonathan McIntosh anywhere, just be like, oh, that fucking guy, he is a goddamn idiot. He probably has like a fucking boner for Rebecca Sugar, for all we know, but whatever. That's it for this video. I guess the question would be, what do you think of Jonathan McIntosh's video? Is he right? Does he have a point? Am I the wrong one here? Am I, maybe I said some stuff that's kind of wrong, but it's just I'm tired of like, yeah, you get it. So that's it. See you in the next video.